Everybody wants to come aboard. Hold on to these. Forever.
Oh, you got
Unless you want to stay here in Juneau, get plenty of job out of this.
Okay. Okay.
She's my third party. Your receipt?
Okay, we'll tell you.
Thank you. And then these get you back on the bus, okay? 45. Those golden tickets that I gave you, hold on to those. Just like Alaska Airlines, you have to have a boarding pass to get back on board. But you also want to have them with you because they are your tickets to the park. If a ranger asks, have you paid admissions, because there is a fee, just show them that. It's already been paid for on your behalf, so don't pay twice. Yep. It's also a great reminder about where I'll be dropping you off and coming back for you. Along the top it says, Bear Bus Stop. And that should be the only bear you have to worry about.
So Victoria and
So most of you guys are about the middle then? Yeah.
Stop number 2.
You're about halfway, yeah.
Because all the boats keep following us.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it is a pretty ship. How do you like the design of the Carnival ships?
You didn't see this bear?
Well, welcome to Juneau. Welcome to our capital. Thanks for coming to see us today. Thanks for letting me take you around town, take you to the glacier. Welcome to the 3rd largest city in Alaska by population with a whopping 32,000, and that's it. 3rd largest, 32,000.
year round?
Yep, year round. Right now, this time of year in the summers, we get a lot of commerce from tourism, so a lot of people show up for the summer, as well as the salmon run is only in the summer as well, and that's also a pretty major industry. So I would guess we're probably closer to like 30,000, maybe higher at around this time of year. But we were in 2nd place for a while until Fairbanks, way to the north, crept past us by just 200. And that was back in 2020, so who knows who's in 2nd place. But Anchorage is definitely number 1. 250,000 live there alone. And if you count Wasilla and Palmer, the neighboring towns and everything in between, over half of Alaska's population is inside that one valley. And so Anchorage is the more effective capital. We are more the capital in name. Our politicians are only down here when they have to be. But there is one building where occasionally they have to be in it to pass certain bills, and that is our Capitol building. It is going to be a little ways up the hill. You're looking for a brown building, black windows, 2 flagpoles on top, coming into view right now, up the hill. That's it. That's all you get. Our city planner thought a parking garage in front was a great idea. Because it's tucked away, that's why all of the state flags are on the street lamps as we head out of town, so you might spot your state as we leave. But the one that I can point out in better detail is our governor's mansion. Looks like they're not a fan of the Republican Party here in Juneau. The governor's mansion will be up the hill. You're looking for a large white building with white pillars out in front. Completed in 1912, when we were still just a territory of the United States. Back then we had a regional governor, not a state one. And it was a little bit smaller when it was first completed, but today it is 26 rooms, 10 of which are bathrooms. Our running joke here in town is because politicians, they're full of it. Yeah, this is the 2nd location. If you want to go to Tracy's without having a fist fight 100 people, this is the place. But that is currently resided by Governor Mike Dunleavy. You'll see it again as we go through this traffic light. Before that, it was Sarah Palin, if anybody remembers her. I heard that giggle. In case you're curious, no, you cannot see Russia from here. I cannot. I still see Tina Fey in my head too, it's alright. But a couple interesting things also as we're heading out of town. This is Gold Creek. We'll get back to this here in a second. Douglas Bridge, that's the only way over to Douglas Island. Over there on the left. And other thing to keep your eyes out for as we head out of town are bald eagles. You might have already seen a couple, but Juneau is the highest concentration of the bald eagle in North America. Usually, if you keep your eyes open, you're looking for golf balls, those little white heads. But you can usually see 50 or 60 just as long as you drive along the highway.
Wow.
But when the salmon run is in full swing here at the end of the month, we can have over 10,000. Like,
I saw
sometimes.
big white birds over the water from my stateroom this morning.
So that could have been seagulls as well as Arctic tern. If they were fully white, that's probably not a bald eagle. Because you wanted to see that white head only.
And brown body.
Yep. But, yeah, we have a lot of them. Typically, this time of day where it's nice, they'll be out hunting, so we might not see a crazy amount, but if I do, a large concentration, I'll point them out for you guys. But Juneau's a pretty crazy town. Realistically, it really shouldn't exist, or at least in the way that it does now. This entire downtown area that's like flat, right now where we are, including the highway that we will use to get down to the glacier today, is built on top of tailings, leftovers from all the gold mining that's gone on over the years. Gold is the reason why Juneau exists. The Tlingit and the Haida, the two tribes, they've been here for thousands of years, but gold is what drew everybody else to the area. We found a lot of it over the years. We've been going after gold for about 150 years, and because the methods for extraction have gotten more efficient, it's thought we've left some behind, and if you were to tear apart Juneau today, there might be as much as $50 million worth of gold underneath our town. But it's likely to stay there because the constant rebuilding far exceeds that. But our story goes that back in 1880, there was a man by the name of George Pills who's living in Sitka. Sitka was like one of the first Russian settlements back when they owned the territory before us. And he has a gold mining operation and he wants more. But he's also a fan of a pretty famous naturalist and explorer by the name of John Muir. You might know him. The mountains are calling me, I must go. That's like that really famous quote by him. But John Muir is one of the first tourists to Southeast Alaska. He loves to come here, comes here all the time. And he's thought to have named it the Sawyer Glacier on the south end of town, as well as he gives the Mendenhall its first name, which was the Auk Glacier, A-U-K-E. But reading through John Muir's notes, he talks about how he's constantly finding gold flakes in the rivers and streams around this area. And he thinks that there's gold in the mountains. And he has no idea how right he is. But George Pills wants to put it to the test, and so he sends out two members of his mining operation, Richard Harris and Joseph Juneau. When those two men first get to the area, they actually kind of fall under bad luck. You'll see the word taku a lot here in the area. Taku is a Tlingit word meaning fierce winds. If conditions are right, we can have like 70 to 100 mile per hour winds in Juneau. They're not sustained, that would be a hurricane. But it forces these men to kind of make land a lot sooner than they intended. But it's fortunate because they make the acquaintance of the local chieftain of the Tlingit tribe, whose name was Cowie. These men are here for several weeks, unsuccessful to find any gold at all. And they're about to give up and go home when Chief Cowie realizes that people coming to this area is kind of inevitable. And so he offers to show them where the gold is, and they give him $100. And promise to be the proceeding of all the gold that is sold to the tribe. Now we got two bald eagles. We got one in play right here, and then he's on top of this little street lamp right here. There's like 4 or 5 right there on top of that roof. See that? Keep your eyes on the trees in this particular spot. That's our salmon hatchery back there. So you'll see more bald eagles. We'll also have another. Keep your eyes on the street lamps as we're going forward. It's genuinely, I see another one straight ahead on the right. Usually on tops of these buildings, because you can even keep your eyes on the channel. You might see salmon jumping around in the channel right now. They're not quite in the streams just yet, but they are here. They just haven't started to run yet. But they finally kind of give in to Chief Cowie's demands, and so he leads them to a stream that we pointed out, Gold Creek. He takes them further into the mountains, to the backside of Mount Roberts. And when he leads them into the water, he genuinely gestures at the ground, and you can visibly see the gold, like running right across the surface. Flakes, abundance, and nuggets the size of your fingernails. And in the course of a single year, Richard Harris and Joe Juneau pulled 1,000 pounds of gold out of one stream. Not ounces, pounds. And does anybody know how much gold is going for today? At US dollar per ounce. $3,000 30,000 is pretty close. Yeah, about 3,300 last I looked. Got another bald eagle right here at the top of this street lamp, watching the channel. That means those two guys, if you were to sell everything they found today, pulled $30 million worth of gold out of one string. Not bad. I'd say that was worth paying $100. It makes them pretty darn wealthy, and they are the founders of our town. And Richard Harris, when he fills out the town charter, he just writes down Harrisburg. He names the town after himself. Doesn't ask anybody what it should be called. And a little bit later, about 6 months after they discover gold, is when they send out Lieutenant Commander Lewis Rockwell to be the police for the town as we establish ourselves. And the town gets named after him too. And so for 6 months, we are both Harrisburg and Rockwell at the same time. Real quick, check out the top of these trees over here on the right. There's probably like 8 or 9, if not more. All these little white dots. There's probably 30 or 40 across the tops of these trees. The harder you look, the more you'll see. And keep your eyes open around the visitor center because they're in the trees over there as well. You'll also have porcupine in the trees. If you didn't know, they're great climbers. There's usually, oh yeah, porcupine in the trees. Not here, but down at the visitor center. Also usually a couple bald eagles down the stream here, but. But so the post office, they don't like that you're using two names for the same location. They say that the town vote, or the town needs to be decided, and they say you should put it to a vote. Now, nobody votes for Rockwell when the vote is held inside the Red Dog Saloon, because he's only supposed to be here for a year. Nobody really votes for Richard Harris because he's kind of a douche. Nobody really likes him. Honestly, he's really stuck out, pretty aloof, and they also don't like that he just wrote down his name. He claims that it's a town in Virginia, but he's a Canadian miner from Dawson City. He's never lived here or lived there. But the thing is, Joe Juneau was kind of a mountain man, a man of the people. He had a history of using his found wealth to buy drinks for the townsfolk. And when the vote is held inside the Red Dog Saloon, he continues to buy people drinks. By the end of the day, everybody's saying Juneau. That is truly how our town name was decided. If you're a good guy, you buy people drinks, turns out they like it. You might get the town named after you. But neither man stays in the area long enough to see it really become the capital. They quickly move away with their found fortunes, and they kick off a major gold run though. It's the reason why we exploded as a town, because tens of thousands of miners started to show up in this area. From 1880 to 1944, just this valley further produced another 80,000 ounces of gold from rivers and streams. And by digging into Mount Roberts, to where today there's about 150 miles of tunnel inside of that mountain range, another 7 million ounces of gold. We bought Alaska for $7 million, and we got 7 million ounces just out of Roberts. I would say we got our money back. If you were to sell everything that's been found here in Juneau, collectively across its history, that is $32 billion and counting. If mining is still going on today, there's a silver mine on Douglas, that's the island there to the left across the channel, and then there's a gold mine past the end of the road, because we are one of those capitals that you cannot drive to. Juneau has no roads leading to it. Every single vehicle that you see, including the one that you're on, came by barge or ferry. There's only 3 ways to get to the capital of Alaska. That's by boat, by plane, or by bird canal. But that's it. But it's the truth. We have about 20 miles of highway on either end of where we are now, and then it will dead end. And we've talked about building a road connecting Juneau to the rest of the world, but it's unlikely that it will ever happen. The most logical thing to do would be to connect us to Whitehorse, that's the capital of the Yukon Territory, and you get access to the Alaska-Canadian Highway at that point. But no matter how you build a road to get out of Juneau, it has to go past a minimum of 78 avalanche zones.
Wow.
And the reason why there are so many are because of the glaciers. Glaciers, if you don't know how they work, they move around. almost imperceptibly on a day-to-day basis, but they grow in the winter and retreat in the summer. And that action of moving back and forth crushes the rock underneath and sands down the sides of the mountains. That's what leaves behind all the really steep terrain. And it's not all bad. As they melt today, they release that crushed up sediment and what we call glacial silt. It's really great for plant life. That's why we're so pretty. And also why there are so many humpback whales in Southeast Alaska. But it turns like the river's drain. The Mendenhall River is so sediment rich that the salmon cannot run in that stream because they can't breathe in the water. But we just entered Mendenhall Valley, and as the name suggests, this is where the glacier is, or at least it was. The glacier you're going to see today is 2.3 million years old and was once thought to have stretched all the way to Michigan before it began to retreat. It has fully grown and retreated the length of this valley 4 times in total that we know of. And 70% of Juneau lives in this valley, and not that long ago it was underneath ice. We purchased Alaska in 1867 from Russia, and right now, right here where I am with my trolley, is where the Mendenhall Glacier was at that time. 1867, this is where the mouth of the Mendenhall was. So as we continue, imagine about 200 years of glacial retreat. Trees will get smaller and smaller, and even the buildings look newer. And we measure the retreat in 2 ways. One is distance. We lose about 150 to 250 feet of ice from the mouth where it meets the lake today. And we're actually getting our first glimpse. I know it's a bit tricky for those of you toward the back. If you start looking straight ahead through the trees, you're going to start to see a hard white line. That's the glacier. That's not a cloud. But because the Juneau ice field at the back of the valley kind of provides more ice, pushes it down the valley, that's not the most accurate method. The better way of measuring the retreat of the glacier is by measuring the amount of water that runs off it today, not counting rainfall. Does anybody want to guess how many gallons per second we lose of the Mendenhall today? 10,000 is a pretty good guess. Times that by 5. We lose 50,000 gallons per second of ice. Per second.
Wow.
200,000 liters. I'm not trying to make you feel bad. Remember, these are relics of the Ice Age. This was going to happen eventually. But the reason why it releases so much is because of its size. The Mendenhall is one of the largest glaciers remaining in the state of Alaska. And from the mouth where it meets the lake to where it joins the ice field at the back of the valley is 13 miles of ice. Where I picked you up at the tramway to here is about 11 miles. So imagine we've been driving on ice this entire time, and you got 2 more miles to go. Typically about 800 or 900 feet wide through most sections, and it's 1,800 feet deep. So you got time. About 20 years before we think about moving the visitor center closer, and roughly 2 centuries before it's mostly gone. You can take a picture, come back next year, do a side-by-side comparison, and it will look different. But the Juneau ice field that feeds it will stay in the area for a lot longer, I imagine, because it is 10,000 square miles of ice. It's roughly the size of Rhode Island. And if you were to hike this mountain range over here to the right, look out to the northeast, it starts only 30 miles away. The Juneau ice field feeds 30 total glaciers in the area. The Mendenhall is just one of them. But having all the ice around us does a really cool thing to Juneau. Across the 100 inches of rain that we get every year, we never have lightning or thunder. It does not happen. If you look at our forecast for the next week, it's just straight rain. So be happy that you're coming here on such a lovely day. But 0 chance of lightning. All the cold air from the ice mixes into the storms. It kicks the hot air out. And you have to have hot and cold air for them to churn. And that churning is what produces lightning. So, no reason not to go on the trails, especially on such a lovely day. If you come to Alaska and don't attempt to connect with nature, you're doing the state wrong, at least in my opinion. The number 1 trail to do today that most people are interested in is called Nugget Falls. Nugget Falls is 1.2 miles to get out to, so a little over 2 round trip. It takes most people comfortably an hour. So 20 minutes out, enjoy it, 20 minutes back. It's like a 2 out of 10 on difficult. Save the whole way out. But it ends at a glacially fed waterfall that is usually about 100 feet wide, more than twice the length of this bus. So, very pretty. One thing about going to Nugget Falls, though, is that by the time you get there, real quick, you might want to switch seats if you want a picture of the glacier coming up on our left here in a second. By the time you get to the waterfall, you're so close to the mountain range that you'll be almost out of sight. So there's another trail called Photo Point. Photo Point is a third of a mile, takes like 15 minutes, but it gives you your best camera angle. And if you're not feeling like going a long distance, that would be the trail I recommend, is Photo Point. Speaking of camera angles, coming into view now on our left, as soon as we break the trees.
Oh, I got a picture of the trees. Oh my gosh. It's like having a baby.
We'll pull over here, that way you guys can get a nice view. This is just a cool angle, don't fret if you miss it. I just like the way the trees perfectly match the valley here.
You think we're able to see that from our boat?
So if you want to get a Darwin Award. Rule number 2 is that there is no food or drink allowed on the trails. Anything with this scent, we just ask you to keep it sealed and in your bags. Don't eat on the trails. If you eat on the trails, you might leave something behind. The bear will come for it, come back for more, and that's usually when the bear gets relocated to heaven. Let us keep our bears. Rule number 3, is that there is no smoking or vaping allowed inside the park. If you have to smoke, you really shouldn't. There is a little white tent next to the porcupine stop where it is allowed. And while marijuana is state legal, this is federal land, so no marijuana of any kind. Last, but certainly not least, please do your best to leave no trace. If you have any loose trash in your pockets at all, I encourage you to get rid of it now. That way you don't accidentally leave something behind. Now as far as where everything is, again, the visitor center won't be open for about 20 minutes. You've got a minute before that opens. Bathrooms are already open though, so don't worry about those. But the visitor center is straight ahead. You'll see these 3 flag poles. It's just up the hill. There is a walking trail, staircase, or an elevator to get up to the visitor center.
Like trim-wise? You're being mean.
You go around this corner and then we'll...
Dakota.
and then it's been used for fraternity stuff. And it's kind of different. Then it's like
They have a good program. Not every school has one. I think we're at half.
Yeah, from kindergarten on.
Stand up on the treadmill.
It's a mile walk. It's beautiful. It's wonderful.